you're listening to the Mackay T Podcast. Here are your hosts, Ryan Mackay and T Davis.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.
Welcome back to the Mackay T Show podcast. T, it's been a minute.
It's all your fault. That's so messy. We start right back off. Throw you on the bus. Yep, it's all your fault. Okay, maybe not.
Well, you know,
but Brian is the producer, the executive producer, the editor-in-chief. What is it called? The zip? What is that? The grip. He the grip, and we don't even have a grip. So when it don't happen, people, it's his fault. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Luckily, we have missed absolutely nothing because, you know, nothing's gone on in the world since we've been gone.
Yeah, except, nothing but everything.
Nothing but everything. So where do you want to start with? The good, the bad, the ugly?
We're gonna start with the NBA.
NBA it is.
Because you know I always have my concerns and comments and questions.
Yes, so NBA. I've enjoyed the bubble. I know you've seen a couple of games.
I have. Thank God my ABC working.
I've enjoyed what they've done now. Both NBA and WNBA. I've enjoyed the games, like I told you, with, you know, just me kind of being a coach at heart. I enjoy the being able to hear all the players. They're talking. They're constantly, you know, switching and things they say to each other, the play calling, everything that you hear. Now, like I told you this morning, before we came on, they started pumping in crowd noise, which that's fine. It's hit or miss on some moments because some moments they'll throw a bunch of sounds like boos out there, and you don't know if that's really a boo moment, but you know, the DJ around there playing too much. But but it's been interesting. I really like the virtual crowd. I think that's a good element, something good added on there. You know, especially when they have celebrities pop up in the virtual crowd and they go to them like they do in a normal game.
Right.
It's pretty cool. You know, now the WWE went and blew the virtual crowd out the water when they took a whole stadium down there at the Amway Center in Orlando and made it into one big virtual crowd, which was very awesome to see last night. So for any WWE fans, they had SummerSlam last evening. So
what did they do with this? How did they get the screen to have?
They just have a bunch of screens where the crowd is, and it looks like the people are right there in the crowd. It
sounds like they have, and it will be expensive, I suspect. But so the Mandalorian, have you seen it?
I have.
Okay, I haven't seen all of it, but what I learned about the Mandalorian is that the background, they don't work with a green screen. There are these huge television like screens, and they are in a circle, like it's almost a 360 big TV, and they put the picture in so they can move and angle the mountains, and so the sun will reflect off the actor and everything. It's really cool, and I wondered if they do something like that, because you can't tell when they were showing it. You cannot tell that they're not in the mountains.
Wow,
especially with the high definition. So all they got to do is pipe in, or put the video of the mountain or the whatever they want in the background. They said the only time they don't use is when they doing like the fireworks, like real fire stuff, because they obviously they don't want to mess up the equipment. But they're able to do. And they said it also helps the actor have a perspective and not just gonna have to guess at, oh, that mountain that I'm looking at is right there. They can actually look at a section and see a mountain.
See, that's probably a lot better for the actors and actresses because now they're not just looking at a red dot or
Yeah, man. When I
focusing.
saw Captain America them running behind that green screen, and it's just I was like, that's some good acting, cause y'all
Yeah,
really look like something chasing y'all, and it's nothing.
right.
Um,
Oh my
but
goodness.
yeah, and then they talked about how when they do the green screen and they showed it, like there's a whole bunch of green on Captain America's shield that somebody has to edit out and make the shield look and make these reflections. But because the the screen, the way they connect all of those huge, they probably 100 foot, I don't know, really large monitors screens, and they make them all, and it looks like one big, it's not it's not a circle. It's one opening where like the cameras and the actors can walk in,
Hmm.
but the perspectives and the light that comes off the screen makes it more realistic. So I wondered if they do anything like that. Anyway, look it up. It's on YouTube. That's why I saw it. It's really cool
Okay, yeah,
seeing how the
yeah.
Mandalorian and baby, what's his name?
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
Man, he took over social media forever when that show first came out.
I didn't know what
Yeah,
Baby Yoda was
everybody was
till
talking
this
about Baby Yoda,
till summer.
and I can't wait for season 2.
I still ain't. I got to. I think season 5, and that
And I
was it.
really can't wait
I'm in season 5, episode 5.
For the new Marvel TV shows if they ever get to come out. You know,
Right.
with this whole coronavirus. Oh, you know what? I forgot to start off the show with Happy Mamba Day, 8/24.
Today is 8/24. Yeah. Uh. I,
Kobe Bryant's birthday was yesterday. Everybody was putting their post out about him and wishing him a happy birthday.
yeah. I saw that. The kid from the Celtics had a. I was like, why he got a purple band on his arm? Then I was like, oh, Kobe.
Speaking of things that we missed, rest in peace. Oops.
We did. Yeah. It's probably a bunch of people dead that we don't. And not from
Yeah,
corona, just old age and everything else. So back to the NBA, which I took us down a long road on with
it's
the
quite.
Mandalorian.
Hey, we back. We back. That's all. We back. Yes,
So
indeed.
here are my thoughts. When I first listened to the NBA, like you said, you could hear all the tennis shoes squeaking and all that, and all I was just like, this is like practice.
Hmm.
And I feel like on some level, until we get to like maybe the second round or the third, it's gonna still be like practice. Because I don't know what the shooting percentage is, but these people seem like they just knock down like, and people we ain't never seen shooting threes at a high clip. And I said they
Yeah,
don't have that pressure that I don't know what it's there's an energy in the building when people are in the building screaming, and and all of that is gone. Um
the
which is
distractions, everything.
yes. When you sitting on the bench, you can't be looking over at the girl across the bench or the guy or whoever that's got on some crazy looking outfit. You ain't got nothing to look at but the court. Now
That's
you
it.
can, because I don't think we see those people, but they behind them. I don't think there's any on the other side, are there? Because usually when they walk off to the far side of the court with a bench away from the bench on that side, you can see them they walk sometime when they get mad or something, and you don't really see anything over there.
Right. Um. Yeah. No. I think that the limited distractions and just and these are tip top athletes in theory. So with limiting distractions and just allowing them to do their thing, I can see why the shooting percentages are so high. And I mean, because you see them during warm ups when there's very many, there's very limited people. If you ever been to a game and you've
Yeah,
gone
when they
real
come out.
early, yeah, and they're out there and they knocking it down like just one after another, just bang, bang, bang.
And I also feel like when and they could do this, but they're not. So every gym, whether you've played or not, even when you've gone to park, the rims are different. You're at 10 feet. They're going to have nets. Sometimes people have thick nets. You don't really see that a lot in the NBA. There's very few colleges that have the thick nets, and that's for people that like to slow the game down because that ball come out a little slower. Anyway, um, so the rim doesn't change. So they all got a feel for how the rim is, and it's not going to change the rest of the way, which is advantage when for those underdog teams because when you play, even when the Clippers and the Lakers, they play in the same gym, but they are rolling out that court, and I suspect their rims are not the same.
Right.
And that has an effect on your shooting. But
Yeah.
again, the rim ain't changing for the rest of the
No.
season.
No. Everything's gonna be the same. The goal's gonna still be at 10 feet, and
You know, I want that up, but go ahead.
I just why I threw that in there.
Yeah, you know, I want that to go up.
You want the men to raise the goal, and people that are advocating, like Shaq, are advocating for the women to lower theirs.
Well, I don't necessarily need to see us dunking, and that's the
I
only
don't either.
reason that people want that lowered. And I think shooting on the lower rim is not going to help shooting percentages.
Honestly, I think the women's game, you're gonna love it for what it is, or you're just not going to. I think
Right,
that's
you like
where I'm at.
basketball or not?
Right.
Dunks are nice for the men, but at this point, everybody can dunk. That's one reason I want the rim raised.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the officiating?
I think that the lack of crowd and the lack of being able to hear everything has really uh, made it seem that the referees are. I think they struggle. They're
They
some hit or
awful.
miss.
They awful,
Yeah.
Brian. And
I'm be nice. I'm be nice about it. But yeah,
no, let's tell the truth and shame the devil. They awful. Shout out.
when I hear tell the truth and shame the devil, I know we are back. Can I just say that? I know we are back when I hear you say that.
Well,
Anyway,
you
go
got
ahead.
to do it, Brian, because Lord, I can't think of my people that taught me how to. I'm trying to give a shout out. Nan Sisk, shout out Nan and Doc Sis. When I went
Yes.
to my referee trainings, they told you ref with your eyes and not your ears. Because you hear a slap or something does not mean somebody was hit.
Two legends in the game, Nan and Doc.
Yes. And so I think that they are hearing things and not necessarily seeing. And what's up with this? You get a take for just swinging your fist in the air now. That's ludicrous. Shout out Mike Tyson. That's
Yes.
absolutely ludicrous.
You got to have more of a list
It's
when you say it. It's
okay.
ludicrous.
I'm sorry. Is that's not been a thing, or have I been missing something?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more sensitive than it's been being because of the situation.
Well, then let's make flopping let's make flopping a thing.
Did you see? I can't remember what channel it was on, so I don't know if you was able to watch it. Did you see the end of the Rockets in Oklahoma City the other
I
night?
did.
I don't know if you've seen the highlights or anything. Toward the end, I think it was regulation, if I remember correctly. I don't think it had gone into overtime yet, but there was a moment where Chris Paul scores, and he immediately goes to guard James Harden, and Big Game James is known for flopping. Well, you see
Well,
James.
we ain't gonna call him big game because that he ain't earned that.
I'm sorry.
Right now, there's only
No,
one big game.
I'm sorry. Wrong. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
yeah. You
Thank
correct. I stand corrected. Anyway, so you see James take his arms and almost pull Chris Paul toward him. And
Uh-huh.
Chris Paul was coming anyway, because they had the foul, they were behind. And Chris Paul comes and he's wrapped around his arms around him. James is pulling him in.
To
Now
make it look worse.
James initiated it. So Chris Paul just went into it, and they were literally hugging each other. And and James falls and Chris falls, and
A
it was a
mess.
flopping mess. Yes.
My understanding of the rule, now the rule may have changed since I did my little training. However, flopping is trying to deceive the ref, which is not sportsmanship, which is a tech.
Yeah, that's gone out the window. it should come back, and maybe that'll be an incentive for people to stop doing it. But,
Or what they used to do, they didn't necessarily call the tech. What you would see the ref do? Ignore you and to give you the hand movement, get up.
right, they
Get up. And then
raise
let
it
keep
up.
playing. That's what they need to start doing because Doncic, Luca, he
Luca, thank you.
he he I want to say his name right. he
Doncic,
Doncic
Don,
is he mad all the flopping they doing it with the Clippers.
yes.
And I'm like, sir, I agree. Cause all this falling when you barely get touched and y'all running down. Yeah, I bumped you, but you didn't have to fall over. Come on, bro. You 6'9", 255. I bumped you. You ain't fall that easy.
No, it's
So
yeah.
that's a mess. I don't this every other night ain't gonna last long. I suspect in round 2 they can change it and people can get a but these players not built to play every other night for no long extended period. That's why you don't see that they start changing that in the league, not having a bunch of games in a week. And now they playing every other day.
And let me say, I know that they're planning on starting next season at Christmas. Can I just
No.
be a can I be a proponent of them starting every NBA season at Christmas time? Because I feel like that's when it really gets started anyway. In my
Yeah.
mind, they started October. Halloween
So when they think
most
this
time.
season gonna end? Hold on. Let
I
me
don't
just see.
know, but
Because if
I'm
it's
like
gonna
you.
start back up.
I'm like you. I think they should extend it starting in round 2, extend a couple of days here and there because yeah, there's gonna be some injuries now, and you wind up losing some stars, and the stars bring cash. So
Right. So they think that this gonna be over. Oh, well, never mind. They ain't got it that far out. They only got
they,
out to these series.
I'm thinking when the season was supposed to start. So and somewhere around October is when they're thinking this is going in.
Okay. So then they're
If
gonna
I
give them a
remember
couple
hearing
of
that
months.
correctly, I
Well,
think they
at
talked about
any
it on
rate,
Inside the NBA the other night.
they not built to be playing every other day like this. Even though they don't have that long break.
Hmm.
So it would behoove in the second round that some of this start to change, that people get a couple of days off or some kind of way. Because they've had enough games where it seemed that you could get a day or two here and there. Like the old school, I play 2 home and then I get a couple flight days and then I'm back on the road. Like if we played Monday, Wednesday, we would come back on Sunday or something
Right.
because we had to fly to wherever. And anyway, because I don't want to injure. I don't want at the end that the teams be hobbling to the finish line.
No, because that doesn't benefit anyone.
So I also feel like these teams, the Lakers and all the teams that have worked to try to at least feel like they have a home court. And no matter what round, I feel like you should have it. For some reason in my mind, I thought they was gonna bring you your court because they have their courts. Remember they showed us. Well, maybe you didn't see it, but they showed pictures of them in their practice courts with the courts when they had like 3 or 4 courts in this ballroom looking place that was
Hmm.
obviously really large. And I was like, I need some. Even if I see my court, that makes me feel at home some kind of way. Right now, it's a waste that you got the number 1 seed
Yeah,
because they
it's
don't put they they should make it loud when the other team got the ball or something, and just
I
make.
think I think they've started to do that a little bit more here recently. Uh,
They thought all this stuff up in the bubble, but they didn't think of this
The
about
DJ,
how the bubble was
like
going.
I said, the DJ he gets to
He's
acting up a
slow.
little bit. Yeah.
Um, so I was like, I need something to make me feel like I got advantage. After I don't worked all this hard. Anyway, I think it's a good idea. I think I've enjoyed it myself. I hadn't started watching till the playoffs started because I just wasn't interested in them 8 or whatever games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and apparently my Lakers weren't either because they played atrociously. Um,
Yeah,
but I've been,
I was nervous for your Lakers, but the way they were lackadaisically going through those little games.
yeah, they played hard because they wanted to beat the Clippers. Then they was like whatever, and then it's like, oh, let's beat this team and get this first seed locked up. And then it was like, we'll just do whatever. Then we got LeBron and AD out here talking about we don't want to have shoot around. If y'all don't get to shoot around and do nothing but shoot some free throws, do it and let everybody else do whatever your routine is. I don't want to have shoot. You don't have nothing else to do. You ain't got nothing else to do but go and either be on social media, maybe talk to your family or something. You're in a bubble. I know they got all kinds of games and stuff for y'all to do, but you really don't have nothing else to do in that bubble. Go to shoot around and then go eat or whatever, and then do whatever it is you think you need to do. I was just like, really, really, no shoot around. Come on, LeBron.
Are
Come on.
you ready to do our little segment on who we'd start with?
Sure.
Okay, for the people listening, we come up with this on the fly this morning. We're gonna do a little segment here now where we kind of are building our own team. You want to do just starting five?
Well, not the starting five, who we will build a team around.
Oh, okay,
Really,
okay.
it was we got you because we picking a newbie. So now, if you had to start a team now, would you
I got
start with Ja Morant,
you.
Luca, Zion? Is there somebody else good? I feel like maybe we can throw Jason Tatum in now. That might make it a little harder for me. Um, but he young enough. Um, I don't I don't know that I love the guy from the Nuggets, but he young. We'll start with them four.
Michael Carter. I mean, not Michael Carter.
Uh,
Porter. No, Bobo.
no,
Excuse me, Bobo.
Mitchell.
From the Nuggets. Oh
Yeah,
no, Mitchell was you. No, listen.
with the
Uh,
Jazz. I'm sorry, I don't know
yeah,
what I call him.
yeah. Donovan Mitchell. If Donovan Mitchell, I'm gonna say this till I'm dead and gone. If Donovan Mitchell was 6'7", he'd be an MVP candidate every year.
Well,
That
he
sucker.
had 51
That
in
sucker
one of
can
these,
play.
and
You know what? My mind, when you was talking about this morning about who we'd start with, my mind, you know me, I automatically started picking out a whole team
you wanted
because
the whole team.
I already had my coach. I'm picking Nick Nurse
Oh Lord.
from
Um,
Toronto. Yes,
my coach. If I had to start with a coach,
because the fact that he has taken, I mean, I understand they were talented to begin with, but the fact that he lost Kawhi and Danny Green and still has them up at the top of the East and, just still doing well in the bubble here.
well, I think he ain't had to worry about no big ego.
And you see
Like
now,
he ain't had no LeBron, no. He got a bunch of people that's bought in and that's not superstar.
and speaking of that, you see now what kind of coach Billy Donovan can be in the NBA. Because he's, other than Chris Paul being there, and Chris Paul's on his best behavior because he wants to prove he can still play.
But that's the thing. I don't know if we talked about this before we stopped coming on air, but I'm not told somebody, maybe it was Larry, shout out Larry. I was like, watch, Oklahoma gonna be fine because Chris Paul don't have to fight against no superstar. He gonna get to run the show, and that's the Bill Donovan team. He like having a good guard, some some post that can rebound and all. Like he's a guard oriented kind of coach in my mind. Um, and I was like, that's just gonna be they like a college team with one good player
Yeah,
or
you
star.
like you called it, Chris Paul and a bunch of young guys that he can lead because they gonna listen to him because he's Chris Paul.
Yes. So I foresaw them doing well. Now I mean, like, not they gonna win that, nothing big, but I was like, they're gonna be just fine because Chris gonna get to do his thing. The young bucks will listen, and Billy can run his guard oriented offense.
I apologize. You usually take us off on the tangent. I did it that time. My bad. So
It's all
back
good.
back
So
to
who you
the
picking? Who you building your team around?
I hate to be a prisoner of the moment, but I have to be. I gotta go with Luca.
So White Magic. Yeah. That's what I'm calling him. Because I don't think he play anything like Bird.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
he's more
no.
of a Magic Johnson style player. And you know how I love Magic. I the so now that he off the board, I'm gonna take Jason Tatum.
You going with a Celtic?
Well, he won't be a Celtic now because I'm taking him off the team. But the only scary thing about Luca right now is he's hurt all the time.
Yeah, him and Porzingis both have been hurt a lot.
He's
So
hurt all. And I'm like, bro, are you young? Like, but those injuries when you young, they kind of linger. Ankles, knees, oh my shoulder.
and
Oh,
the way he plays brings about more injury. More bangs and bruises.
so I like White Magic, and I'm interested to see how he evolves. Uh, but since you got White Magic, I'm gonna take the Celtic. Boo. I'm gonna take Jason Tatum because I think he's really
You're gonna liberate him
once he get his
from off
man
this.
body. He ain't got his man body yet, but
He's still young.
yeah, he's still a baby. Um, and he can handle, he can shoot. He which I if I can get AD to, if we need to put some hot sauce in his food or something, if I could get him to be mad all the time, when you can see when not mad, he almost looked like he was mad a little bit, like I'm gonna prove a point. If he could stay in that mode, I don't know if it takes too much energy for him to do it or what, but
Let me just talk about this man who was in New Orleans and clearly wanted out toward the end there.
right.
Uh, the man, he's had some bumps and bruises, but he has.
Bumps and bruises, is that what we calling that? Okay, go
I
ahead.
don't know. I don't know that he's been long term injured since he got to LA, and he was long term injured every other week in New Orleans.
Yeah, he was yeah, every day. Oh, my finger broke. Oh, I hurt my toe. Oh, it was always something. Preferably he's all past that for the Lakers' sake, because without him, we definitely won't win this tournament, this NBA tournament, because that's what it is. This is not the playoffs. This is just like it's not single elimination, but it feels more like a tournament to me. And maybe it'll start feeling like the playoffs later. But with them playing every other day, I'm just like, oh, this the NCAA tournament.
Do you want to touch on the draft lottery that
For
came out
what?
the other day?
For what?
Uh,
This gonna probably be one of the worst drafts.
Let me just ask you this: do you think that the Warriors should trade the second pick? They got the second pick, and then they get Clay and Steph back next year.
Who they think they gonna get?
Well,
They
according
don't
to
want that ball,
ESPN,
boy. He don't fit.
Ball is going number one to Minnesota, which
Oh well, I thought I read something where the Georgia kid might go number one.
and then Jordan Anthony Edwards from Georgia is going to go to Golden State, according to ESPN's latest mock draft. And all this means is any moment now we're going to get the LeVar Ball World Tour to
Well,
push
if
this into
we gotta see
existence.
him, I'd rather see him in Minnesota, which means I won't see him. Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they don't. Golden State does not need Lamelo.
I
They
would
have
trade it if anybody wanted it and go as far down and get a couple of, because you probably can find some like Giannis was a what? Well, he was a low pick. He wasn't a top five. I don't think he was a top five pick.
no, I'm not even sure he was lottery.
I want to say it was 8 or something.
Maybe might have been the end of it. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Giannis was picked number 15. So I
Yeah.
would go.
Out of the lottery. Okay.
I would go as low as I could and try to find a diamond
Yeah,
or
I
a
think you
good,
could trade it for a good piece and a bunch of draft picks,
yeah, get some picks from somebody and be like, here, y'all can have it.
which is
Um,
how they built that team in the first place.
right, right. So my last thing that I have to do this. I have no choice in the matter.
Go for it.
Kawhi, you know, you could have. I know you probably not listening, but anybody that know you, tell him he could have been a Laker. Um, he could have been playing with AD and LeBron. Now
You're,
we see that
now you
LeBron
look.
don't care about all this. Like he had 10 points the other night. He would have been
Mhm.
happy to facilitate to you and AD and just be out here balling. But you wanted to go to the Clippers and you wanted to play with Paul George. Now, good luck with that because I don't know what Paul George doing, but he had 9 points the other night.
Paul George has been, bless his heart, he's been awful.
And some people think he might be hurt. I don't care. Uh, you could have played with the Lakers, uh, but you chose Paul George and the Clippers. And I know this series ain't over, but they should really be up 3-1. That mess of throwing Porzingis and out and all that, I don't know that the Clippers would have. I mean, the Dallas would have lost that game because they were winning when that went down, right? I feel like they were up a couple of points.
Yeah, I think so. I think if I remember correctly.
Um, Luca, Luca, I don't know Luca. I mean, right now I'm calling him White Magic because his playing style. And he got to win some more before he really become White Magic. But he tough as a $2 steak. He tough because I was like, bro, I don't think he gonna make it through the end of this game. He was laboring so bad, Brian, at the beginning of the game. I was like, I don't know if he shot that free throw and it barely hit the front of the rim. I was thinking I had flashes of who free throw ankle couldn't even
Yeah, by Kobe.
no play that dude.
Grant Hill. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I was like, this could be a Grant Hill. And I don't think they would have let him stay out there like that if it was. But I was like, he was laboring so bad, and he just was he toughed his way through it because he labored most of that game, and he was still using it. 1-2 stepping um, moves, jumping off one leg, and I was just like, okay, I guess the adrenaline has taken over fully. But why you could have played with us. You chose the Clippers. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about that. Now we can move on to whatever.
Don't put the Grant Hill uh juju on Luca, please,
No,
Lord.
no, I'm not saying that he was gonna be hurt to that extent.
Oh,
That's
I
what I was
understand.
thinking was he didn't be out there. Now
I
he
only need
obviously
you to put
proved
that
me
into
wrong,
existence.
but I was thinking the whole game. I was like, he's laboring too bad. Maybe you should try to win with what you got,
He
and
was.
then give him another day off or two, and he can come back. But he proved me wrong with his 40-point triple double and buzzer beater and Kawhi. You you could have been a Laker, but you didn't even. Did you see how quick he let the other guy switch on to Luca?
Hmm.
I'm
He
like,
didn't want none of that.
bro, you supposed to be the dude. You just let that switch happen so effortlessly.
The claw. That's what they call him. The claw. Because of
He
the
has been
defensive.
declawed because Luca out there with a bad ankle driving by all of them. I'm like, is he deceptively quick or something? He gets to the basket so easily, and I know they can't touch and all, but I'm like, he don't seem to be no speed demon.
He was driving last night toward the end there. He was driving to the goal and was sideways and in midair turned his whole body and was lined up with the goal perfectly and laid it in. did not look on his drive in that he was ever gonna get to that point. But he in midair
He has
switched his
good body control.
yes. For
It helps that
somebody
he's
so
not jumping that
young,
high off the ground too. So that's another reason I feel like he could be white magic in the future. Because my magic wasn't leaving the ground. He could dunk because he was six
bless his
nine, but
heart, bless his heart. No, no,
we
he was
were
not gifted in that way.
we were not airborne at all. My only thing that right now that I don't like about Luca, these jump passes. These driving the lane, jump up and turn out to pass to a 3-point shooter. And that
That's
might be the
true.
play. You got to stop it. I'm tired of it. Stop it. It's
I don't
not
know
for
if it's the
me.
play or just his youth, but yeah. Oh goodness gracious.
So yeah.
So are
Kawhi,
we
you could
ready
have
to?
been a Laker. Yes.
Are we ready to? Are we ready to move to the ugly?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So
Kawhi, you could have been a Laker. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
uh so the coronavirus. Uh
SARS-CoV-2. Yes.
oh goodness. So yeah. Can I
People,
just say
just do the right thing. Put a mask on and get 6 feet apart, or we gonna be out here fighting this for a long, 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 long time. I don't suspect this is going anywhere until 2022, and I ain't saying it's leaving. I feel like depending on who win this thing, this presidency, we will better have a better handle on it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
oh no, you're fine. I can I just say that and I could be completely wrong. I just put that statement out there first.
You got to put something else on that. What Charles Barkley say?
I might be wrong, but I doubt it.
Okay, go ahead.
So this could have been at least handled. We might not have had a cure or anything yet, but this could have been somewhat handled months ago if our leader
Are you
and
you
I'm
giving them too much credit? Let's find another word. The person in charge. Okay, go ahead.
the man in charge who stood there at the podium February 26th. Now, and I've seen an actual video compilation of 27 different instances where he acted like this virus was going away anytime. Just. But he stood there on February 26th after he had just come out of a meeting where they told him this wasn't going away anytime soon. He stood there on that podium and acted like it's just 15 cases. It'll be gone. Act like it'll be gone tomorrow.
Yeah,
Instead, he could have been up there telling people social distance, put your mask on. But he didn't want to lose his little economy. And now, look where his economy is.
February 28th, 2 days later, he goes to one of his little rallies and says the virus is a hoax. Yes. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
this could have been better managed, and because of him, we still have ignorant people out there won't wear a mask, trying to be defiant, talking about their rights and freedom. You don't have a right to put other people in jeopardy. That's never been a right of anybody's to put other people in harm's way. Oh, I'm not sick. You don't know if you're sick or not. You could be asymptomatic. Or you could be on your way to sickness and passing it around until you get sick. There's so many people that have followed this man into the grave, just like Jim Jones. I don't know, you might be too young to know who Jim Jones is, but he was conniving enough to get enough people to believe in whatever he was selling to have them to drink some cyanide or something to kill
yes,
themselves.
yeah,
And so basically, these people are doing the same thing with this virus, running around talking about they don't want to wear masks. Oh, this ain't real. They trying to control us. People are dropping dead, and if they're not dropping dead, people are losing limbs because they wake up and oh, we had to amputate. By the way, we had to put you in a coma, and it got so bad we had to cut our limb because to save your life. Or now you're gonna have to be on dialysis because your kidneys have failed and that was all we could do. So now you're gonna have to be on dialysis for the rest of your life. Or some of these people having to have breathing machines and asthma pumps because they can barely walk up the steps without about to die. This virus is real. And if you want to go by the percentages, yes, what we at? Are we at 200,000 yet? Because I don't even pay that much attention no more. But
Last
even
number I saw yesterday was 176,000.
okay, so 176,000 is not a large percentage on 330 something million people. One, you don't know if you're gonna be one of the people that die from it. Two, you don't know if you're gonna be one of the people that's ill for or sick for the rest of your life. Disability. It ain't hard to get on it ain't easy to get on disability. Like it's a struggle to get on disability. So you can be running around here and be like, I had coronavirus and now like I can hardly move from my room to the bathroom. And good luck with getting on disability. You see, they taking away unemployment, want to give you $200 because y'all out here, and I say y'all, but people are out here losing their job. And okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And people are gonna hang. They're gonna hang on the fact that I brought up that he came out of a meeting on February the 26th and made that comment about 15 cases and where he was told in the meeting he was told about it was gonna get worse. That's not really out there in many circles. That's just kind of people are saying that. But here's the deal: there's those same people that are gonna hang on that fact. They're gonna sit there and say that Joe Biden isn't fit to be president because he had an affair so many years ago that his supposedly Jill Biden's ex-husband has a book out where he details, that they had an affair, and that's how she ended up with him.
Cast the first stone.
Okay, but I want them to keep that same energy when they tell me that I'm wrong for saying that he was in a meeting where he was told that this virus is fixing to get really bad. You need to do something. You need to warn the American people.
And
There's going to be books. There's
I
going
don't
to be
think we
books
got a lot of
written.
Trump supporters watching us. I hope not.
I,
So
I,
we
I'm
speaking to
just
the
saying,
choir. I
if
hope.
there is out there anybody that's going to hang on that, I want y'all to keep that same energy y'all have about Jill Biden and Joe Biden's alleged affair. You know, come out in this book by Jill Biden's ex-husband, who says he's not there for, he's not doing it for sour grapes, but it's a heck of a time to come out with a
Well,
book.
it's fine.
40
Even if he
something
had an
years
affair,
later.
Brian, that's his personal life. We need somebody that can run this country. I don't. Him and his wife can deal with his affairs. That I need you to be able to run this country and get this virus to be manageable. Because I don't know about controlling it until somebody. It's gonna be some years before we get vaccine. Even if you get a vaccine, I need to know how to treat it. As I'm watching Brian clean his hand with the hand sanitizer.
I felt
But
dirty.
wash your hand. Wash your hands, people. Use your distance. Make sure, be careful. Don't use these ski mask things that are to keep your face warm. They're not as helpful as a double layered mask. Do your part to help others be safe. Because it's not just about you, it's about you not spreading it because you could be asymptomatic and not here spreading it around.
I heard this term used the other day. I don't even remember where I was when I heard it, but it was used in the opposite way of what I'm going to use it. They were saying that Trump was the lesser of two evils when it comes to who can run the country better between him and Biden. I'm fixing to use the other direction because for anyone who can actually make their lips say that, it's blasphemy to me. I believe that Biden in this situation is the lesser of the two evils because of who he can put in his cabinet and who he can get. I think you're gonna hear me use Andrew Yang's name a lot as we get back rolling on this podcast because I'm a true believer in him, and I think that he one day could be someone that could run this country. I love a lot of his ideas, the universal basic income, and
Right. That
um,
I like some of his ideas. Some of them were off-putting, like some of the stuff he said about college. But there's gonna be no perfect candidate, and people
right.
come to understand that you don't have perfect spouses. Nobody's ever picked the perfect mate. Nobody's ever picked the perfect college. Nobody's ever picked the perfect school. Everything like you love your school, but then they have flaws. You love your spouse, but they have flaws.
One
You're
one
not
of the biggest
sleeping with
things.
the president of the United States.
Well, a lot of people do for some
Well,
reason. You know.
Lord. Well, maybe
Uh,
most of us aren't.
but no. In jest. One of the things I really like about Andrew Yang is his stance, like the whole math deal. People, ask what math is about when it comes to him. It's an acronym for Make America Think Harder. And I've always said that we have to start doing our own research. If you can sit there and this is things that I've heard over the last few months. Let me pull it up. I have it all written here.
All
I
right,
was
you gotta do your
I
math.
heard no. I've heard that this was a couple of months ago when Nancy Pelosi was up there, and apparently there was a video floating around where she had called uh, George Floyd by the wrong name. I think she called him Floyd Keith, and talked about naming a police reform bill after him. Well, do you know that this is like that telephone game that we used to play as children back in the day, where
Yeah,
you whisper in my ear and then I whisper in the next person's ear. And by
right.
the time it got around the circle, the story had completely gotten jumbled. I heard that somebody actually said this. Did you hear Nancy Pelosi call George Floyd George Kirby and talk about naming statues after him? That's completely opposite. She messed up his name, called him Floyd Keith, but she talked about naming police reform bills that they hope to enact after him, not statues,
Right.
not putting statues up of him.
Look, it's laughable. Don't go down
And
the
then
rabbit hole, Brian. Don't let them
no,
get you.
no, and I know, and then there's that video. I think it was like a month or so ago now that floated around of a George Floyd III on Judge Judy, and people were saying that was the George Floyd. Turns out, if you do the research and you look into it, it was not him. First of all, the age gap was completely off, and it was a whole different guy in a whole
These the
different
same
situation.
people that's probably think that what's his name that playing the NBA is him too. So I can't.
Well, and then I say all that to say this, and here I go back as I circle back to Andrew Yang. His podcast, Yang Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, the episode was I'm gonna mess up this man's last name, I
Oh
believe, but
no.
his first name is Lawrence. Last name is Lasag. He's a Harvard professor, a lawyer, and a political activist. He had I mean, first of all, I love the whole conversation between him and Andrew. I
I have
thought
to
it was
check it
very,
out.
yeah. I know I sent it to you, so you do definitely need to check it out. But there was a segment that I took out of there
The
where
SIG, is
the
that it?
Sig, yes,
Okay.
he had this statement that I took out from that podcast I think is just a really good situation,
Come
especially
on,
for our
preach, preacher. Preach, give it to us. Tell it.
he said, if you do democracy on social media, it's no good because you're reacting to democracy of hate and driven by ad incentives. But if you do politics in such things as podcasts, long form narratives, town hall environments, that's more fixed to us as humans, how we should be as humans. We have time to reflect on what we've heard, hear both sides of the argument, think, and get deep on an issue. And I'm just people so much is just what you see on Facebook, what you see on Twitter right now, and all that is not necessarily even truthful most of the time. And we get so fixated and hung up on those things instead of doing our own research and doing our own thing, and just trying to gather the information for ourselves.
Brian, I don't know. I'm sure we have an episode.
Make
But
America think harder. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to get at.
well, that's the thing. The
I'm getting down.
educational system not only lets us down by having so many illiterate people, but we don't. You're not really taught to think critically. You've not taught to find reliable. When I first heard the term, it was in my master's program. Reliable knowledge. What is reliable? You can't just be running out here. The internet. I mean, Twitter and Instagram. That is not a reliable knowledge.
No.
Now, there may be some people that are reliable sources on those, but it doesn't help that they jump on anything and grab it and retweet it. News has gotten to the point where one person says it, everybody runs with that same story.
Mhm.
There was a time when there was a reason that news needed to be slow, so you could fact check and make sure everything. Because once you put something out there, you going back and retracting it. Most people don't hear the retraction.
And now all we're all about in the news cycles is we want to be first.
Right. But I think that news has always wanted to have that breaking news. They wanted to first, but they wanted to be right. They didn't want to
Right.
just be first and dumb and wrong, but they wanted to be first and make sure it was an accurate story. But now we're just running with it. And then you find like, oh well, actually this is what happened. So I've been trying, and I think I said this on our like I've been trying not to hear, oh such and such did this to this person. Well, let me hear some more of the story. Because all you giving me is the cliff notes. And then once I read the book, it'll be like, oh well that puts it all together. So we and I use we loosely. Humans, y'all falling apart. Education system is letting us down. Um, we don't have a lot of critical thinkers. Actually, we have several, but it seems like there are more that are not critical thinkers. Um, and not even being able to do deductive reasoning. And I might be using too many big words, but some of the stuff, if you hear 45, if you just do some deductive reasoning, you'll be like, that don't make sense.
A lot of the supporters of him point to how he got the economy back in rolling. But once again, math, make America think harder. I did my own research, and there's plenty of stuff out there that shows that this is not even debatable. This is actual fact. In 2008, when Obama took over, there was actual recession that hit, and
Hmm.
he had to pull us from that. And there's actual evidence out there that shows that he had the economy, you know, on the upswing.
He had it up. It bumped up a little with Trump, but the
Right,
percentage wasn't as great as Trump would lead you to believe. He wants
right.
to get all the percentage that was there from Obama's time and the little piece that he had, but that's not how it works. And these people that are say these things, besides your math, they don't know real math, and so they don't have any way to deduce this.
Yeah, and I don't know. That's just it's just frustrating that you constantly hear things that are just inaccurate, and you want to correct, but if you do, you're just gonna be correcting people all day long. And
I don't told you correction of foolishness is folly. That's in the good book, and
yeah.
so you can't. You going down a rabbit hole.
Oh, and that's a good
Example.
segue. That's a good segue
Go ahead. What we going to?
because you went to the good book. If you want to segue to what we're
Yes,
going
the
to introduce
good book.
next week,
So, um, I talked to Brian about us doing some, bringing some of the characters and the stories from the Bible days into today's time and the things that people deal with. Because there could have been a Me Too movement in the Bible. We got Tamar and Bathsheba. We could have had a Me Too movement then. We got bad bosses out here, Saul and David. Like we got sibling rivalries where people out here killing people. Now, what's his name? Tim Norman allegedly, because I have to say allegedly, killed his nephew, right, for money from the Sweetie Pie thing. Well, there's this whole story about Joseph brother threw him in a pit. Told daddy he was dead. So this kind of stuff been going on for a while, and we thought we'd dig into it a little bit and not necessarily have some fun, but some food for thought. Because I think a lot of times you read the stories and then you don't heard them and you don't really think any more about them or from another perspective. So, looking at David and Bathsheba's story from Bathsheba's perspective, and less about David and his situation, or um, David and his kids' relationship, because Absalom tried to take the throne. So anyway, that's what we had thought we'd bring to you, something nice. And you don't have to be a Christian or not. The story is a story. You can take something from it, or you're not.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting into that. Just a little bit of deep dive into. It just shows that what we're going through. Excuse me, what we're going through has been around for centuries.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's definitely going to be interesting. Yeah, people, we're back. I'm glad to be back. Hopefully, I don't wash away with these two storms that are
y'all be
making
careful
their way,
down there.
making
Well, I
their way
thought they was
on
gonna
in.
crush up Louisiana and Texas.
It's looking like they're both going to go west. So yeah, we may be spared. We might just get a bunch of rain. So hopefully, prayerfully, because I don't know that my city can take another Katrina level disaster.
Well, have y'all had record-setting rain this August? Because we have.
We've not had hardly any rain.
Man, it's been raining. We the fourth highest in history. Rain amounts. If we get an inch more, we're gonna beat the record for August.
Oh, well, there you go.
Which means we could get it because they said one of them storms might make its way this way. The aftermath of it, not the whole thing, but just the aftermath.
But you got a couple more days to get that record in.
Yeah, they got a week. Look, the weather lady got a week. She got a week and a couple of days left.
Anything else you want to throw out there before we end?
I like to throw out. I know we about to wrap this up. Why are these Dark Knight movies so? I know it's called the Dark Knight of Batman. I need to be able to see what's happening. Like I feel like I need some thermal vision glasses. Watch the movie.
You need some night vision.
Yes.
Yes, it's very dark.
Did you see that last trailer?
Yes, from what I could see, it looked like it could be very good. But
from what you can see, and that's the problem. I don't want to be trying to squint my eyes and ruin my eyes trying to. I do like the guy that's playing Batman. I think he's a good Batman.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
I want to see his acting because he was horrible in the vampire thing. But I think this could be a role, a good defining character for him. His acting.
Hopefully we have no Twilight fans because you just ruined.
Whatever, they'll be all right. He was a good vampire, but he didn't really take much. It wasn't like the role called for that much. He gonna have to pull something out, and I think that he almost whispering instead of trying to have the deep raspiness. It sounded like he was just more whispering, like with a lowness to the voice instead of the. I don't even want to try to do it. But yeah.
You said he's binging.
That should be interesting.
What time is it?
Yes, indeed. Well, as always, I'm one of your hosts, Brian Mackay, and I am with
T. Put your mask on and be physically distant, Davis.
And this has been the Mackay T Show podcast. We're back, people.
You can listen to the Mackay T Show podcast at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, and TuneIn. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Please be sure to follow our show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mac T Show. That's at TheMacTShow, at The Mac T Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to get all the updates and different things that might be happening with our podcast. You can email the show at the Mac, letter N, T-show at gmail.com. That's the Mac, the letter N, T-show at gmail.com.
This is the Mackay T Show. This is the Mackay T Show. We talk movies and TV shows, sports and world news, coasting like on a world cruise. Hosted by Brian Mackay and T Davis. Yeah. You can't tame us. We're going to the top, we're becoming famous.
What time is it?
It's time for the Mackay T Show.
What time is it?
I said it's time for the Mackay T Show.